Hi, everybody out there in the world. This is pretty much the common way to communicate right now, anyway. Um, so, I live in Illinois, and we've been on quarantine or self isolation or stay at home order or what, all that stuff. There's a thumbtack in my ceiling. Oh, sorry, just noticed that. Anyway, we've been on that since what, beginning of March? I don't even know. I don't even know what day it is. It's Sunday. Okay, I do know what day it is. But anyway, I've got my coffee. And I really want to go to Disney World. I've never been. I've been wanting to go since I was a toddler. Like, I used to draw pictures of Mickey and Donald, and I've never got to go. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe prices will go down a little bit and we can afford to go maybe soon. I don't know. When they open back up. Whatever. It's just me and my husband. I mean, our kids are grown, so. Anyway, that has nothing to do with dystonia. So, what does have something to do with dystonia? Okay, well, in December, and I think I already updated, but I'm not sure. In December, I did a 3-day video EEG inpatient testing at the hospital here, and I had 2 seizures, good seizures. And then I had like all my normal shakiness, off and on, and for 3 whole days, and they got it, proof of it all and all that. But come to find out, the seizures are not epileptic in nature. So, what does that mean? It just means I don't have epilepsy. That's all that means. It means I'm having seizures that are non-epileptic seizures, which is a very real thing. And there's just do your research. There's lots of statistics out there that show that'll, I don't know what the statistics are, 50% or something are non-epileptic seizures. I don't know. My husband knows. I don't really care. I am not researching it that much. I don't care. I just know that I have them and they're real. So anyway, after discussion with that doctor, I said, you know what? These are real. Something's causing them. And it was a neurologist, of course, so he's only focused on the brain. He's like, well, it's not from your brain. All right, okay, fine. So I was like, well, what if I have MS? Because I have no reflexes in my left leg, ever. Every time they're checked, they're just not there. I can use my left leg sometimes it's very heavy and just kind of dead. So anyway, I saw that, well, what if this is MS? Because the spinal surgeon I saw when we thought I had a back injury, and come to find out it's not. I do have back issues, yes, but not what was causing the no feeling in my leg and the numbness in my bottom area. So he mentioned MS. So I got a hold of a neurologist that specializes in muscular sclerosis treatment. And I called them and I told them what was going on, and they agreed to see me. So I went in, and nurse practitioner was going to come in first, and I said, nope, I didn't drive here to see a nurse practitioner. I want to see the doctor. I've been dealing with this for 2.5 years. So I was stern about what I wanted. And so the doctor did come in, and he spent about 45 minutes with me and my husband. He did some blood tests because he saw what was going on, and he was glad that he saw me. He said that he was 99% sure it was not MS. He said with MS, the reflexes end up being over-exaggerated, where mine are basically just not there in my legs, especially the left one. So he's like, that's not MS. He goes, but something's going on. So he ordered some blood tests to check for some kind of rare, what's it called? Central nervous system disorder that is rampant in Native American and African American ethnicities, which I'm Native American. And so he said that, chances are I may have this disease, whatever it was. And I was like, well, whatever. I haven't been checked for it. Let's get checked for it. So he checked it, and he did some basic lab stuff too as well. And a week later, I got a phone call I got a letter in the mail about one of the blood tests was positive but not for that. It was positive. It was called the ANA titer panel. It's like anti-nuclear antibodies or something. I don't know. Anyway, it was positive, indicating lupus. And I'm like, okay, 2.5 years I've been going through these symptoms. They are getting worse and worse as as longer I'm going here. And now there's a test that's positive for, and it spelled it out, lupus. So that made me think really hard. Okay, about 10 years ago, probably around 10 years ago, I was going to the doctor for migraines, and I was getting migraine treatments because I was having them daily. And I mean, they would knock me just down. They were so bad. But I was getting rashes and hot flashes and all this other crap was going on. I mean, it was just really weird. And the doctor's like, he diagnosed me with fibromyalgia, but he sent me to a rheumatologist out of town, referred me to one. I went and saw him, and that rheumatologist at the time said, well, your RA factor, which is rheumatoid arthritis, because your RA factor is negative, but you do show signs of an autoimmune disorder in the central nervous system. He talked about it. He goes, but nothing definitive. He goes, I can't diagnose you with anything. He goes, if things get worse, this in the next few months, come back and see me. Well, nothing got worse. It all just stayed kind of the same. So for the past 10 years, I went through okay, the PCP diagnosed me with rheumatism. So I had rheumatism. I had migraines, of course, without aura, although I do have auras when I get them now, but I don't get them very often, thank God. I have a headache today, but it's because we had a bonfire last night, and I sat out by the fire, and the smoke got to me. But we were social distancing. It was just me and my husband and 2 friends that we've only been around, and we sat all apart, so we're good. We're good. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Okay, so treatment for migraines and all that with the one doctor. Rheumatism and fibromyalgia is what they thought I had. Then I was like, okay, sorry, that was my phone. Then irritable bowel disease or syndrome or whatever, and then they thought, oh, well, maybe you have ulcerative colitis. And then oh crap, you've got kidney stones. And then I had the hysterectomy, and everything was happening all at once. Every bodily system I had was being affected by whatever the hell was going on with me. But nothing, there was no one test that they did at the time that showed this is what you have. They just treated everything separate, and I dealt with it. We did the best we could. I was still working, but I wasn't having these shakes, these tremors, the speech issues. I wasn't having seizures. None of that. I think the worst thing I had was just body pain and the migraines at the time. And the rash comes and goes, and I've been having the rash thing is what's really interesting. The rash thing I've had since I was a kid. And my mom always thought I had a heat rash or whatever, and never really thought much about it. And but the rash is interesting. So the rash goes like this. I'll get really hot. I feel like my skin's on fire. And it tends to stay in the face and the ears and the neck and chest. That's it. Okay? It doesn't really go anywhere else. I will look like I'm really, really flushed. I'll be all red here. My tips of my ears will be super, super red and almost purple sometimes. And then I get the same kind of rash will go across my neck and come down my chest. It doesn't go anywhere else. And I've had that. Oh my God, I've had that rash issue. It comes and goes and comes and goes. It's not a constant. It's it just happens. If I'm outside, or even if I'm not outside, if I get hot, it comes on bad. And I think that's why my mom always thought it was a heat rash. But now it looks like it might be a symptom of lupus. I don't know. So I go to the new primary care physician Tuesday, this coming week. And he's only new because we live in a different state now, so I'm not going to drive 3 hours to go back to my old PCP. That's just ridiculous. So I've set up a new one. Plus, all the clinics and the hospitals here all have this great system to where they can all communicate with each other through the software that they have. So where back home, where I'm from, they didn't have access to that. So every doctor I saw didn't have access to each other's notes, and I would have to try to relay or get copies and all that. I don't have to do that up here. So I'm very happy about that. So I'm going to go see him, and the reasoning to see the primary care is because apparently I have to see one. Well, I need one anyway, but I have to see one to get a referral to a rheumatologist again. A rheumatologist, because they're the doctors that treat the lupus. And I've got 2 of them on a list that I've researched in the area that work in the same clinic system as the primary care that I'm going to see. And one of them, I really hope I get the referral to. It just depends on, if they're accepting patients or whatnot. But with everything going on in the world right now with this pandemic and COVID-19 and all that, I don't know how quick I'm going to get in to a rheumatologist right now. And I'm okay with waiting, because what I have is not going to kill me. Or at least that's what the last doctor said. But I was reading up on lupus a little bit, and it's interesting because a lot of people don't know that if lupus goes untreated, it does of course get worse. It is a disease. It's an autoimmune disease. And the type of lupus that I'm likely to have is the real common one. It's like systemic something or other, but it affects like all your bodily systems, which makes sense with what I've been going through. So, but if it goes untreated long enough, apparently, from what I've read, and I got some information from the Mayo Clinic and stuff, I'm only looking at legitimate resources and scholarly resources. If you ever do Google Scholar, you can like read stuff that are actually researched, is researched materials. But lupus can cause seizures. Lupus can cause dystonia type movements. The torticollis I get, all the stuff I've had, lupus can cause those. Never knew that. Would never have even thought about considering that had that last neurologist not done that ANA titer test to show that I had a positive ANA titer for lupus. So anyway, that's basically my update in a nutshell. I'm doing fine today so far. I get to where I don't even notice the little jerks and like little tweaks here and there that I get. I don't really notice them too much anymore. My husband doesn't really notice them too much anymore. The only time we notice them is if they cause me to have the speech problems. A couple nights ago, I was having, I had an issue. It just came out of nowhere, and it was brought on by me talking. I was trying to say a word, and there was a syllable in the word that, I don't know, it hung me up, and I started twitching and twitching and twitching. Well, not twitching, like I was full blown jerking, and I couldn't talk for a little bit. And then today's Sunday, Friday night, we were sitting in here in our little office room here, and I was sitting here doing stuff, and on the computer, my husband was behind me with this. It's a training knife. It's just a little training knife, and he does this. He was doing this thing where he's spinning it in his hand, but he was standing behind me, and he couldn't hear it, but I could hear it. And because every time he would spin it, the way it would slide on his skin or something, it was a frequency that set me off. Freaked him out, because he's like, there's no possible way you can even hear that. I was like, well, I did, and I do. And I yelled, stop as quick as I could, but it was too late, and I sat here and went into full-blown sliding the knife on the bookshelf just got me. The training knife. Anyway, the sound of it caused me to go into a pretty bad one, and my neck's been really sore since. So he stood behind me, and he actually held my head to try to help, because sometimes him putting pressure and just trying to hold my head can help sometimes. Sometimes it don't. I don't know. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason to any of the symptoms I have, or what sets them off to this day. I don't know. We're still working to try to figure stuff out. Man, I don't really want to keep this update going. It's already 15 minutes. So I will just end it with this. Your diet is your medicine. Whatever you're eating, you are what you eat. And I swear by this. I had put 50 pounds on up until from February to February of this year. February 19 to February this year. My mom passed away in February of 2019, and I just didn't care anymore, and I got really depressed, and so I just started eating everything. I didn't care. Well, anyway, that made symptoms much worse, and I knew that, but I just didn't care. So I went through some really bad depression, very, very, very bad depression. But this February, one of my cousins reached out on her Facebook page about something that she was doing that really was helping her. And I was like, okay, I want to get in on this. I want to get better. I want to be a better person. I want to get back to being healthy, and I want to be happy, and I want to try to help my symptoms, because I was having seizures probably every day at that point. So I joined this Facebook group called Eat Like a Bear. And it's intermittent fasting and a low carb keto lifestyle. And I was like, okay, well, I did the keto before, and it helped my symptoms back in 2017, and or 2018. Sorry, the beginning of 2018. I didn't know about it, and the doctor was like, hey, try this. So I did, and it helped, but I didn't really stick to it like I should have. Well, I've been sticking to it now since February. I've also dropped 20 pounds at least, but a lot more inches than what my weight says. I was already back up to like a size 12 to 14, and I'm back down to a size 6 already. 6 to 8. My symptoms are much better. They're not gone, but they're much better. I think I've only had one seizure since February that I'm aware of. I have them sometimes in my sleep too, so I don't really know. But the headaches, I still have headaches, and but I've got my coffee here, and my coffee has a tablespoon of heavy cream in it, and it has MCT oil in it, and I blend it with a little hand stick blender thingy I've got. And I don't eat sugar. If I eat anything sweet, it's made with stevia or monk fruit. I don't do any sugars at all. I haven't since February. If I feel a really, really bad craving coming on, I will enjoy like a banana, which is really sweet to me now. Last night I ate a half a banana. And I have a headache today, and it's probably because I ate a half a banana last night. But anyway, I'm done, I think, talking. I don't know what else to say. Just keep on going out there. You don't give up, but, there's got to be a time where you say enough is enough, and I'm going to do what's best for myself and not rely on the doctors. And that's basically where I'm at. Now, if I have lupus, we do need to find out if I have lupus, because if I do have the lupus, it does need to be treated. And with the symptoms I've had, there are some different treatments out there. Infusions is a one treatment or all that. But, and I also use marijuana. I have these little, in Illinois, it's legal to do recreational, and I don't have a medical card yet. I may end up getting one. I'm going to talk to the doctor about just getting one. I don't take it very often, but I bought there are tablets. There are 2.5 milligrams THC, 2.5 milligrams of CBD, and they're just these little tablets you swallow just like you would any other medicine. And when I do use those, I take it about 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime. And it helps me get a better sleep, at least about 4 hours of undisturbed sleep. So those are great. I highly recommend taking THC with CBD for these types of symptoms. I've also I also have just some bud, I mean some flower that I can smoke, but I don't like to do that. Smoking it is a last resort for me, and when you smoke it, I'm not getting, the CBD, of course, in it. So, but it does help in a pinch. But I just don't prefer to smoke anything at all. But I do have some. Anyway, it's 20 minutes, so I'm going to say bye. And y'all just enjoy the spring. Get creative at home. We've been very creative here in our home. Me and my husband, we've done really silly things to be creative. If you get on Amazon, I did publish a book. It's called Nana's Apron. You can go check my book out. It's about the sensitive subject of death, of losing a loved one. And in my story's case, it's Nana that passes away. So Nana's Apron, I did that, and I'm very proud of myself for completing that project. And I've actually written another book, and we're going through the editing process on it. We also, my husband and I released a documentary. He has shared it. I know we've shared it on Facebook. I don't know if it's on confusionfilms.com or not. But if you go to Bill Hauser on Facebook, or Confusion Films on Facebook, you can find our documentary we released called The Hound of Hannibal, an American Werewolf Story. And then we just did a scary short film. It's like 1 minute 40 seconds or something, called PPE. We just filmed that the other night, and it's out there. I think it's also on the Confusion Films Facebook page. It's going to be submitted for a little film, an online film contest that there's people doing stuff like that online, because everybody's doing online stuff right now. So anyway, enjoy your spring, and I will try to remember to do more updates. I will let you guys know what comes out of my doctor's appointments coming up. So have a good one.